Do, 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 do. Left of the box. As a Canadian, I'm so grateful to live in a wealthy country that cares about its people. We are so socialist and happy up here. That's why we're so polite. Not like those Americans. In more than 70 cities across the states, it's illegal to feed homeless people. Not just that, laws were passed to ban people from handing out supplies, tents, even water. Like, how inhumane is that? A sweet little old lady was arrested for defying the local ordinance in Bullhead City, Arizona. Bullhead. Sounds about right. That's how cruel the states have become. They arrest people for trying to help their neighbor. I just can't imagine anything like that happening here. That's why we are far more civilized than those Americans. Here's the most recent example of this heartlessness. In Barrie, the city is trying to ban panhandling and the handing out of food in tents on public lands.
Wait.
This isn't about helping the unhoused. It's about punishing them. These bylaws they're voting on are mean, undemocratic, and reflect poorly on the society that allows this to happen. But the fact that it's even gotten to this point is reprehensible.
Woohoo.
Excuse me. What? That's Barrie. Ontario, Barrie. You mean Ontario, Canada, Ontario. Yeah. Barrie, Ontario, Canada? Barrie, a city that gets so cold that in the winter when you step outside, your nose hairs instantly crystallize. That's Barrie. That's the one. Well, shit. Hello, welcome to Left of the Box. Bonjour, bienvenue. I'm Sandy. Yeah, I don't really control the curls that I get in my hair, but this is, yeah. Sometimes you just gotta go with it. Criminalizing poverty is nothing new. This article was from 2018 and this one from 2014. As far back as I can remember, laws have been passed trying to control the ways people with poverty live on both sides of the border. Remember this? Ontario Court of Appeal upheld squeegee ban back in 2007. And that was for all of Ontario. Justification for these laws are always worded to sound like they're for the greater good, protecting the hardworking members of society who haven't fallen on hard times. It's a health issue, a safety issue. But if that were the case, then why aren't the cities putting their efforts into making sure people aren't on the streets to begin with, or helping them to find safe housing? Because providing real, socialist solutions would work. The thing that scares wealthy, capitalist politicians the most is socialism. Socialism would help the most amount of people, but it threatens the status quo the 1%ers benefit from. So the politicians make laws to protect themselves and not us. Now the city of Barrie has backed away from their proposed bylaws after a nonprofit said they will move their outreach away from the waterfront. They've backed away from it, but the matter is expected to return to a general committee meeting later this year. After the public backlash has died down and people have moved on. The people with power convince the people with privilege that people with poverty are that way because of choice or moral deficiency, that we deserve less because we are less. Too many people buy into the belief that people with poverty are criminals, lazy, are addicted to drugs or alcohol because they enjoy it, that they want to live in these tent encampments, that they're dangerous, are burdens to society, and that they don't merit basic human decency. Signs for "don't feed the animals" are all over cities. They're worried that if you feed them, it will attract more animals and that risks disease, messes, or property damage. In the eyes of the powerful, that's all unhoused folks are to them. Animals. They're worried that if people are allowed to show kindness to unhoused folks, it will attract more people in need of support. And instead of providing that support, they'd much rather go the route of vermin extermination. Okay, I know that wording. It's a bit extreme. It's not that direct and hands-on. Law after law is passed restricting the freedoms of unhoused people. They aren't allowed to loiter in places where worthy people are. places that can provide shelter from the elements, parks close to resources, places where they can form communities for safety. They aren't allowed to do simple tasks like wash a windshield for money. They aren't allowed to panhandle. Services are underfunded, moved around, difficult to get to. Supports have wait lists and are means tested. The slightest aggression, like peacefully sitting in protest of an encampment being torn apart, is met with violence from the police. If an unhoused person does anything that can be perceived as hostile, they receive harsh punishment. Yet, if an unhoused person is harassed, threatened, assaulted, or even murdered, those crimes are often overlooked. What are unhoused people supposed to do to survive? Where are they supposed to go? How are they supposed to get out of their situations without proper supports? Think about it. What are the reasonable outcomes of the laws these cities pass? People die from exposure to the elements or violence. They die from a lack of food, resources, or health care. People are dying from a lack of compassion. All the cities want to do is push poor people out of view so others don't see them suffer. People are all for vermin extermination until they see the brutality of it. Seeing animals in traps die slow, painful deaths can cause people to pause and ask if there isn't a better way. Maybe a way to prevent the animals from getting into that situation in the first place. Like, people would have that same level of compassion for other people. Right? We'd want to find ways to help them and put policies in place to prevent people from becoming unhoused. Right? People claim humanity to be a force for good and that when the time comes to step up and help those in need, they'll do it. Right? We know what the solutions are. We lack the political will and the people with privilege pushing for positive change. This is Canada. Well, shit. Don't forget to hit buttons and leave comments. You can find me on the reflection of the superego of humanity, Twitter. I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Did you know I'm an artist? Check out sandylovis.com. If you can, please support my content by becoming a patron or purchasing something off my wish list. It's starting to get really crowded in this part. Every little bit helps. Links are in the description box below. A special thanks to those of you who already have. Salut, à la prochaine. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. I'm Sandy, wishing your tomorrow is better than your today.